Chosen one. Listen closely. The last day of September carries a mystery that most will overlook. But you cannot. Heaven marks this day differently. It is not for noise, not for debate, not for defending yourself. It is for silence. In that silence, your obedience will speak louder than any speech you could offer. There is a reason why silence has weight. Words shape worlds. Words open doors. But the wrong words at the wrong time can collapse what God is building. On the final day of September, silence becomes your strongest defense. It is not weakness, it is alignment. When you choose to be silent, you step out of the reach of the accuser. Think of a courtroom. The judge is present. The accuser is present. And the witnesses are watching. If you speak recklessly, your words can be twisted. But if you stand silent, the judge himself becomes your defender. This is exactly what happens when you guard your lips on this day. I want you to picture a young man who was chosen long ago. He endured seasons of being mocked and misunderstood. He wanted to explain himself, to argue, to prove that he was right. But in prayer, the Spirit whispered, "Hold your peace." On the last day of September, he obeyed. Soon after, false accusations rose up against him, yet none could stand, because he had given no careless words. The silence he kept became the very net that caught his enemies. What could have destroyed him was reversed into promotion. The same mantle is resting over you now. Do not think silence is empty. Silence is full. It is like the soil in winter. Nothing seems to grow on the surface. But underneath, roots are strengthening, seeds are preparing, and life is gathering force. In the same way, when you are silent, God is planting strength within you. The unseen is preparing to burst forth. Imagine standing by a river at night. The water seems calm, reflecting the moon, but underneath, currents are alive, moving with hidden power. Your silence works the same way, still on the outside, yet in motion within. Quiet lips, but a roaring spirit. Chosen one. Hear this. Silence can be louder than thunder in the spiritual realm. Your refusal to argue becomes a banner of trust. Your decision to hold your tongue is a declaration of faith that shakes the unseen. Heaven listens to the silence of the faithful. The Word of God declares in the book of Proverbs, chapter 17, verse 28, "Even fools are thought wise if they keep silent, and discerning if they hold their tongues." This is not about appearing wise before people. This is about standing as wise before God. The last day of September is the moment when silence is counted as wisdom, and wisdom becomes your shield. So now, take this message to heart. On that final day, choose silence over defense, quiet over chatter, stillness over panic. Let heaven write your testimony instead of your own lips. And if this word has touched you, I invite you, share it. Subscribe to stay connected to these warnings. And type the number 111 below as your covenant that you will stand silent when heaven calls for it. But let me take you deeper. Chosen one. Silence on the last day of September is not just a command, it is an invitation. An invitation into a secret place where God reveals mysteries that chatter would drown out. When your lips are sealed, your ears open, you begin to hear whispers of destiny, instructions for the path ahead. and confirmations that your heart has longed for. Think of a watchmaker, bending over a delicate timepiece. Every gear, every spring, every screw must align perfectly. Too much noise, too many interruptions, and the watch will never keep time. You are that watch in God's hands. September's last day is when He aligns you with His timing. Silence gives Him room to work. And remember this, silence is not forever. Silence is for a moment. Just like the seed is buried before it rises, your silence is temporary. It is preparing you for a season where your voice will carry double the weight, double the authority, double the fire. So when that day comes, do not see it as losing words. See it as gaining power. Obey the whisper. Embrace the stillness. And watch what God will unfold as October dawns. If this resonates with you, let it be known. Share this message with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe so you do not miss what is coming. And type the number 111 inches the comments as your seal of obedience and faith. You are chosen. You are marked. Even your silence will echo in eternity. Chosen one. Your silence is not emptiness. It is a weapon sharpened in the unseen. On the last day of September, it will be tested. The enemy does not fear your arguments. He fears your restraint. He knows that when you refuse to answer, you close his doorway. He thrives on words. Feeding on them like fire needs air. But when you keep quiet, his flames suffocate. You may not realize it yet, but silence in its pure form is warfare. Think of a fortress built high on a hill. The enemy surrounds it, shouting, taunting, daring those inside to open the gate. But the fortress does not respond. The gates stay shut. The silence within the walls breaks the enemy's confidence. That is you, holding your ground at the edge of September. Every season of testing has its unique command. Sometimes you are called to shout, as Joshua and the Israelites did around Jericho's walls. Other times you are commanded to be still, as Moses told the people at the Red Sea, "Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord." This end of September is the latter. It is not the season for trumpets or cries. It is the season for closed lips and open faith. The power of silence is that it reveals where your trust rests. Anyone can speak, argue, defend, and retaliate, but silence proves reliance. It says without words, "God, I trust you enough not to fight for myself." The moment you adopt that posture, heaven takes over. Silence removes you from the courtroom and lets God become your lawyer. Think back to the story of Jesus before his accusers. The crowd shouted, the leaders mocked, and false witnesses twisted his words. And yet he did not answer. That silence carried eternal weight. His lack of defense was not weakness, it was strength wrapped in surrender. The cross was born from his silence. And your breakthrough, chosen one, may be hidden in yours. Imagine a lion in the tall grass. It does not roar when it stalks. It moves quietly, deliberately, unseen. That silence is not cowardice, it is strategy. At the right time, the roar comes, but until then, silence guards victory. So it is with you. On the final day of September, your silence is not retreat. It is positioning. Some will not understand. They will press you with questions. Try to draw out your words, even mock your stillness. But remember, They are not your audience. Heaven is your audience. Your silence is a song to God, a soundless melody that only the throne can hear. Others may misjudge it, but heaven never misinterprets silence born of obedience. Consider also the discipline silence builds. Words are like rivers, they flow easily, often uncontrollably, but when you place a dam across the river, you harness power. The water that once scattered becomes energy, turning turbines, generating light. In the same way, when you dam your words, you store spiritual energy. That energy, when released in God's time, will bring light where there was darkness. There was a woman of God who learned this lesson painfully. For years, she fought every accusation with words. She defended herself, argued her case, and exhausted her soul. Yet the more she spoke, the more her enemies twisted her speech. Then one September, she received a revelation. Say nothing. It was the hardest command she had ever obeyed. But when she held her tongue, the storm passed. Those who accused her turned on each other. She stood untouched, lifted higher, while her silence became her testimony. That is the inheritance waiting for you if you will obey. We find in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." The last day of September is like a threshold. On one side, chatter and defense. On the other, silence and covering. One side exposes you to arrows, the other hides you under God's wing. Which side you stand on will determine how you step into October. Chosen one. Silence will not always feel natural. Your flesh will resist. Everything in you will want to reply, to explain, to justify. But that is precisely why silence becomes a weapon. It crucifies your pride. It dethrones your need for control. It enthrones God as the sole voice that matters. And when God speaks on your behalf, the outcome is always greater than what your own voice could have achieved. So see your silence not as a loss, but as a sword, not as weakness, but as warfare. On the last day of September, when the test comes, remember the fortress, the lion, the dammed river. Hold your silence. Guard it as if your destiny depends on it, because it does. Chosen one. Do you feel the weight building? With each passing day of September, heaven is preparing to test not just your lips but your heart. Your silence is not only a weapon, it is a mirror. In the quiet, what is hidden inside surfaces? Fear tries to speak. Pride demands to be heard. Wounds cry out for defense. But silence reveals whether your trust is rooted in God or in yourself. There is a fire in restraint. To stay silent when every nerve in your body wants to answer back, that is not ordinary strength. That is the strength of heaven flowing through you. Think of it like iron in the furnace. It glows. It bends. But it does not break. The pressure of silence refines you. It makes you sharp, unshackable, and ready for the days to come. You may think silence is passive. It is not. Silence builds muscle in the unseen. It is like running uphill with weights no one can see. The effort is real. The strain is real. And the reward is hidden until the day of unveiling. When October dawns, those who obeyed in silence will walk lighter, stronger, prepared to hear instructions others missed. A story comes to mind of a chosen one who faced betrayal by a close friend. Every instinct in him wanted to expose the lies, to reveal the truth. But in prayer, he heard a whisper, "Let me fight for you." He obeyed. Days later, the truth surfaced by itself. Those who lied against him stumbled over their own words. His silence had prepared the stage for God's justice. He was vindicated, not by his own tongue, but by heaven's hand. Silence is therefore not the absence of a voice. It is the handing over of the microphone to God. When you are silent, you are not ignored. You are represented by one greater, and the testimony he gives will always be louder than anything you could have spoken. Chosen one. Understand this. Silence is not always easy, but it is always fruitful. The seed buried beneath the earth does not complain. It waits, and in its waiting, roots spread. Life deepens. Strength builds. The last day of September is your burial of words, so that a harvest of glory can rise in October. As was spoken in the sacred text of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 7, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak. Your time is appointed. September's end belongs to silence. October's beginning will belong to your voice. If you confuse the two, you risk losing both. But if you obey, you will gain both. Now, I want you to take this moment to engage with what heaven is saying. Type these words in the comments. Covered in silence. Do not underestimate this small act. When you write it, you are not just agreeing with me, you are sealing a covenant with heaven. It is your way of declaring, I will obey, I will trust, I will hold my peace. That act of typing becomes a seed sown into the soil of your destiny. It is symbolic, yes, but heaven honors symbolism born of faith. So declare it boldly. Let your fingers be your lips today. And when the last day of September comes, let your silence be your roar. But, chosen one, let me take you deeper into what those words truly mean. When you declare, covered in silence, you are not saying you are hiding out of fear. You are saying you are being wrapped, shielded, and clothed in divine protection. Silence becomes a garment. Just as a soldier wears armor into battle, you are wearing silence on the last day of September. It covers your mind, your heart, and your tongue, so that nothing unguarded slips out. Think of Noah's Ark. The animals and family entered, and then God himself shut the door. That door was silence. It was separation from the noise of the outside world. Preservation in the middle of the storm. When you say you are covered in silence, you are stepping into that ark. Others may drown in chatter and confusion, but you will be preserved. And more than protection, silence is positioning. Covering is not just about hiding, it is about being set apart. Like a seed placed in soil, you are covered so you can grow. The soil seems dark, but in that covering, transformation begins. Roots spread, life stirs, and in time, the seed rises stronger than before. So, when you type those words, let your spirit understand you are not losing your voice. You are preparing it for greater authority. You are not being silenced. You are being hidden, marked, and strengthened. Heaven sees it. Heaven records it. And heaven will honor it. Chosen one. You must understand that the adversary is cunning. His favorite trap is not always violence, nor always temptation. It is words. He has been twisting words since the garden, when he asked Eve, "Did God really say?" Words can become chains if spoken without wisdom. This is why silence at the end of September carries such gravity. It is not silence for silence's sake. It is silence to avoid entanglement in the snares of the enemy. The devil knows the power of language. He knows that a single sentence spoken in haste can echo for years. A careless remark can wound a heart. A defensive word can give ground to accusation. A whisper in anger can invite darkness to linger. This is why he presses you to speak when you should be still. He does not need your entire story, just a slip of the tongue to twist into an arrow. Think of words like arrows shot into the air. Once released, they cannot be taken back. They fly, they pierce, they land. But silence is the unstrung bow. The bow exists, but it is at rest. No arrow leaves it. No enemy can snatch it and turn it against you. This is the wisdom you are being invited into on the last day of September. In Scripture, Job learned this painful lesson. His friends surrounded him, urging him to defend himself, to explain his suffering, to justify his life. In his pain, he spoke words he later regretted. Yet even then, God reminded him of the limit of human speech. Job's experience teaches you this: silence before God can carry more weight than endless explanations before men. Consider also the image of a courtroom once more. The accuser thrives on testimony. He twists half-truths, magnifies mistakes, and reshapes intentions. When you speak hastily, you place evidence in his hands. But when you are silent, he has nothing to use. Heaven steps in as your witness. The judge sees that you refuse to be baited, and his gavel falls in your favor. According to what is revealed in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 19, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Silence also trains the soul to detach from the approval of people. Many times, you speak not because truth requires it, but because your pride does. You want to be understood, defended, proven right. Yet silence crushes the idol of reputation. It demands that you surrender the need to be seen in order to be hidden in God. It is a form of fasting, not from food, but from words. And just as fasting weakens the flesh and strengthens the spirit, so too does silence refine you. Think of a blacksmith working with metal. The hammer strikes, sparks fly, and the metal glows red. But before every strike, there is a pause. The pause is not wasted. It positions the metal, aligns it, ensures that the next blow will shape it correctly. Without pauses, the strikes would be wild, the peace ruined. In your life, silence is that pause. It ensures that when God speaks next, his words will strike you into perfect form. Silence, then, is not the absence of faith. It is the deepest proof of it. To hold your peace while storms rage is to declare without words, "My trust is not in the storm, nor in myself, but in the one who calms it." This is why silence terrifies the enemy. He cannot shake a soul that refuses to react. And yet, silence does not mean disengagement. Your heart must remain awake, listening, waiting. The danger is not that you fall into nothingness. but that you become too eager to break the silence. Guard your spirit carefully. On the last day of September, temptations may rise suddenly. Unexpected conversations, provocations, even opportunities to defend yourself may appear. See them for what they are, distractions meant to lure you into speech. Do not be fooled. There is strength in restraint. Proverbs tells us that the tongue has the power of life and death. To withhold it, therefore, is to withhold potential destruction. You may feel the tension, like holding back a flood behind a dam, but that is where growth happens. The silence you keep will not destroy you, it will preserve you. So step into that silence with confidence. Know that, by refusing to give words to the adversary, you are declaring yourself under God's covering. See yourself like a fortress with gates closed. Abo Unstrung. A blacksmith's pause before the next strike. The silence of September's end is not empty, it is holy. Chosen one. Now, you are beginning to see how weighty your silence is. The last day of September is not a random date. It is a doorway that does not open by noise or by argument, but by stillness, and in that stillness, God Himself steps forward to fight for you. Think of a battlefield at dawn. The soldiers stand ready, weapons drawn, hearts trembling, but then the commander lifts his hand and signals them to wait. No marching, no shouting, just silence. The silence feels heavy, but it is strategic, because the commander knows the timing. The enemy does not. That is what the Spirit is doing for you. He is asking you to hold back, to remain silent, until His signal. And here is what you must grasp. Heaven listens to the silent ones. It is as if every angel pauses its movement to see who will trust God enough not to speak. And when heaven finds one who obeys, that one is lifted, marked, and crowned. The ancient words recorded in Psalms, chapter 46, verse 10 remind us, "Be still, and know that I am God." Silence is not punishment, it is intimacy. In your silence, you are saying, "Lord, I yield. I step back so you can step forward." That kind of trust cannot be faked. It must be lived. Now let me speak to your heart. If these words have stirred something inside you, if you have felt that quiet confirmation that God is speaking directly to you, then I ask you to stay connected. Like this message, share it with someone walking through their own storm, and subscribe so that you remain close to the stream of living words. These acts are not about numbers, they are like placing candles in windows, guiding lost travelers home. And regarding support, I will speak plainly, from the heart. Imagine a lighthouse on a rocky shore. Its beam cuts through fog, so ships do not shatter in the night. Yet that light cannot shine without oil to keep the flame alive. Your donation is that oil, not a fee, not a demand, but fuel for the lamp, so it can keep shining for others who are still adrift in darkness. Think of it as pouring a drop of water into a clay jar. The jar may seem small, but each drop gathers until it quenches the thirst of many. If you feel led, sow into this light. Donate not because you are forced, but because you long to see the flame burn brighter. And if you cannot, then let your silence, your prayer, your obedience be your gift, for heaven treasures them all. And remember this, every act of generosity is a ripple in a river. It flows beyond you, touching lives you may never meet, carrying light into places your feet will never step. Your part, whether through giving, sharing, or simply standing silent, joins a greater symphony of obedience. And heaven does not overlook a single note. Your silence will roar on September's end. Your obedience will carry you into October. And if you choose to fuel this light with your giving, your name becomes part of the story that will echo into eternity, whether by silence, by prayer, by sharing, or by giving. Your participation matters, and heaven sees it all. But chosen one, let me open one more layer for you. Silence, sharing, and even giving are not random acts. They are threads woven into a greater tapestry. Each small obedience adds a stitch. Alone, it may look fragile, but together, it forms a covering that is unbreakable. Your silence weaves trust. Your sharing weaves influence. Your generosity weaves provision. And when heaven looks down, the pattern is beautiful. Think of a vineyard. Each vine produces grapes, but no single cluster makes the wine. Only when they are pressed together does the fragrance rise, the richness appear. In the same way, your offering, whether silence, a share, or a donation, joins with countless others to create something far greater than what you could produce alone. That fragrance rises to heaven as worship. And here is the mystery. Nothing given in faith is ever lost. Silence feels like loss of voice. Giving feels like loss of resources. Yet heaven always returns more. The seed sown multiplies. The silence kept turns into testimony. The gift released becomes provision that circles back in ways you did not expect. So do not despise the small act you bring. It may feel tiny in your hands, but in God's hands, it becomes eternal. Chosen one. The silence you are commanded to keep is not only a shield, it is also a mark. When you obey, heaven does not just notice, heaven records. Angels move with scrolls in their hands, searching for those who will stand in quiet trust on the last day of September. And when they find you silent, they place a seal upon you. This seal is invisible to human eyes, but undeniable in the spiritual realm. It is like a crest pressed into soft wax, a signet that says, "This one belongs to the Lord." Demons recognize it and step back. Angels see it and draw closer. Heaven uses silence to separate the faithful from the reckless. Do not underestimate this. Your silence is not forgotten, it is counted. Every time you close your mouth when provoked, every moment you withhold explanation, every instant you resist the urge to defend yourself, it is noted. It is written into your record as proof of trust. The voice of God thundered in the book of Malachi, chapter 3. Verse 16, "Then those who feared the Lord talked with each other, and the Lord listened and heard. A scroll of remembrance was written in his presence concerning those who feared the Lord and honored his name." On the last day of September, the scroll of remembrance will be opened again, and those who obey in silence will find their names highlighted, their destinies preserved. Imagine a shepherd marking his sheep with oil on their heads. From a distance, no one else notices. But to the shepherd, the mark means everything. It means protection, belonging, kare. In the same way, your silence becomes the oil on your forehead, the sign that you are counted among God's chosen flock. Let me share a story with you. A woman once struggled to stay silent in the face of constant criticism. Every remark cut deep, and her instinct was to respond, to explain herself. But she remembered the instruction: hold your peace. On September's last day, she obeyed. That very week, the one who mocked her fell silent instead. While doors of opportunity swung open for her, it was not her arguments that won the battle, it was her silence, and the mark it drew upon her life. Chosen one. Silence is not just about what you withhold. It is about what heaven releases. When you are silent, you give God room to speak. And when God speaks, His word shakes foundations. Your silence creates space for His thunder. Think of a potter's wheel. The clay does not argue with the potter's hand. It does not resist or explain it, simply yields. And in that quiet yielding, the vessel takes shape. If the clay could speak, perhaps it would complain about the pressure, the spinning, the reshaping. But silence allows it to be formed into something useful, something glorious. That is you in this season. Chosen one. I urge you to remember, silence is not absence. It is presence in another form. The presence of trust, of humility, of discipline. And that presence is fragrant to God. Now I invite you to mark this moment with a prophetic act. Type the number 444 inches the comments. Do not see it as just digits. It is your declaration that you will walk under the covering, that you will be sealed, that you will let silence mark you. Just as four corners make a foundation stable, so too does this number represent your stability in God's protection. When you write it, you are saying, I will not be moved. I will be marked. Your silence is not wasted. It is counted. It is sealed. And soon, it will be rewarded. But let me show you more clearly what this means. When you type 444, you are not just pressing keys, you are building an altar with your fingers. Each number is like a stone set in place, forming a memorial that heaven recognizes. Just as Abraham built altars where God had spoken to him, you are building one here, in the digital space, declaring that you belong to the Lord. The number itself carries weight. 4 represents completeness in the earth, 4 seasons, 4 winds, 4 corners of the world. When it repeats, it multiplies stability, saying, I am grounded, I will not be shaken. By declaring patru sute patruzech shipatru, you are aligning yourself with that stability, choosing to stand unmovable when others crumble under pressure. So do not take it lightly. Heaven sees faith in symbols as much as in silence. And when you align both your quiet lips and your written declaration, you become unshakable, sealed, and marked for what is to come. Chosen one. The danger of careless words is greater than many realize. Words may seem light, as if they vanish into the air once spoken. But in the spirit, they are heavy. They fall like stones into water, rippling outward long after the stone has sunk. A single word of bitterness can echo in another person's heart for years. One phrase spoken in anger can build walls that take decades to break. This is why heaven warns you. On the last day of September, let silence guard you like armor. Careless words are not just mistakes, they are seeds. And every seed grows. Some words grow into encouragement, comfort, and healing. Others grow into weeds of confusion, resentment, and despair. When you stay silent, you refuse to sow seeds you will later regret. You may not see the harvest immediately. But reste assured, silence prevent poisonous growth. Think of a garden in early spring. The soil is tender, ready to receive seed. But if the gardener is reckless and throws whatever he finds into the ground, the garden will be overtaken with weeds. The silence you keep on that sacred day is like a careful gardener's hand, choosing not to plant what does not belong. You may not plant at all, but by refraining, you are protecting the soil of your destiny. The scriptures are filled with warnings about the tongue. James calls it a fire, small but able to set a whole forest ablaze. Proverbs says, rash words are like sword thrusts. Each image points to the same truth. Words once spoken cannot be pulled back. They cut, they burn, they scar. But silence, true silence guided by God, avoids this destruction. Imagine a bow drawn tight, arrow ready. The tension is strong, the urge to release overwhelming. But if the target is wrong, the arrow will cause harm. Silence is the choice to lower the bow, to refuse the shot. It requires strength, more than many know, to stay silent when accused, to hold your tongue when mocked. This is the discipline that separates the chosen from the reckless. There is also a mystery in silence. In stillness, God speaks louder. The prophet Elijah expected to hear God in the wind, in the earthquake, in the fire. But the voice came as a whisper, almost hidden in quiet. Your silence tunes your ears to that whisper. When you stop speaking, you start hearing. When you stop defending, you begin receiving. This is why the final day of September is so critical. It is the day heaven leans in, waiting for those who are listening instead of talking. There was once a young believer who learned this the hard way. He faced opposition from co-workers who constantly tried to provoke him. At first, he answered back each time, determined to prove himself. But the more he spoke, the more tangled the conflict became. His words, though true, only gave fuel to the fire. Then one year, as September ended, he chose silence. He said nothing in response to their provocation. Days later, the hostility evaporated. The very people who mocked him came asking for his advice. His silence had disarmed them in a way his words never could. This is the paradox. Silence can defeat what words inflame. Your silence cuts off the oxygen the enemy's fire needs. Without your reaction, his flames die out. Consider silence also as a mirror. It shows you what lives within. When you withhold speech, you discover the thoughts, emotions, and fears that rise up. Silence exposes them. It is not always comfortable, but it is necessary. The words you do not speak still live inside you. Silence allows God to bring them to the surface, to heal and transform what is hidden. In this way, silence is not only protection from the enemy, it is purification for the soul. Every unspoken word that you surrender to God becomes clay in His hands. He reshapes your desire, refines your heart, and strengthens your will. By the time your silence ends, you are not the same. You emerge purer, lighter, stronger. So do not despise silence. Do not see it as a prison. It is a sanctuary. It is the place where you are shielded from the traps of the adversary and reshaped by the hand of God. On the last day of September, when temptations to speak rise like waves. Remember this: silence is not your weakness, it is your strength. It is your shield, your sanctuary, your refining fire. So, when the day arrives, hold your silence like a sword in its sheath, ready, restrained, and powerful. For in stillness, you will find both safety and victory. Chosen one. The night watch of transition is not like ordinary nights. It is not merely the turning of one date into another. It is a gate. As September exhales its last breath, the unseen realm stirs. Angels shift their posts. Principalities tremble. And destinies are quietly repositioned. In such a moment, silence is not optional, it is your cloak. Imagine a traveler crossing a desert at night. The heat of the day has passed. The sand cools under the stars. Budanger still lurk. Scorpions hide beneath stones. Predators prowl unseen. What protects the traveler? Not noise, not shouting, but stillness. The quiet steps keep him hidden from what would devour him. In the same way, your silence hides you under the shadow of the Almighty as you cross from September into October. Spiritual gates are not visible to human eyes, but they are real. They are thresholds where decisions, obedience, and timing collide. Some gates swing wide with blessing, others threaten to open into snares. On the last day of September, a mighty gate swings. Those who walk through with noise expose themselves, but those who cross in silence slip through unnoticed, covered, and safe. Think of Israel on the night of the first Passover. The instruction was simple: stay inside. Do not step out. Let the blood mark the doorposts. Outside, judgment moved swiftly. Inside, silence reigned. That silence was not weakness, it was survival. Their stillness became their shield. So it is with you. On this night of transition, your silence marks your doorpost. It hides you from what stalks in the dark. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 91, verse 1, "He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." There is also a rhythm to the heavens that silence aligns you with. Just as the tides respond to the moon's pull, your spirit responds to the timing of God. If you rush with words, you step out of rhythm, but silence lets you flow with His cadence. It is the difference between stumbling and gliding. The last day of September is not about rushing, it is about aligning. Picture a watchman on the wall. His task is not to shout at every shadow, not to cry at every movement. His task is to watch, to discern, to hold his peace until the right moment. Your role on this night is the same. You are a watchman of your own destiny, keeping guard with silence. And consider this: silence on the night of transition is not empty space. It is a declaration without words. It says, "I trust the God of the gate. I will not force the door. I will wait for Him to open it." Such a declaration is louder in heaven than the shouts of 10,000 men. There was once a man who faced a night of decision. He was tempted to explain himself, to argue with those who misunderstood him. But instead, he chose silence. That very night, an opportunity came, an unexpected phone call, an open door he had not sought. His silence had preserved his place at the gate. Had he filled the air with words, he might have missed it. Chosen one. The enemy fears silence because it robs him of information. He prowls in the dark, but he cannot read your mind. He only knows what you release. Words are signals, clues, doors. Silence leaves him blind. On the last day of September, your silence leaves him stumbling in confusion while you pass through untouched. Think also of the image of a cocoon. Within it, the caterpillar is hidden, silent, unseen. No one applauds the silence of that stage. Yet in the quiet, wings are forming. The stillness is transformation. If the cocoon were torn open too soon, the butterfly would die. So too, your silence in transition is the cocoon. It is where your wings form. Unseen, but inevitable. This night of transition is not to be feared, it is to be embraced. It is holy ground. A narrow bridge between seasons. Your silence is the key that carries you across. Without it, you risk stumbling, distracted by voices around you. With it, you move like a shadow, unseen but unstoppable. So prepare yourself. Chosen one, when the night comes, let your lips remain closed, your spirit awake, and your trust unshaken. For in the silence of transition, you are not abandoned, you are hidden. And what is hidden with God cannot be touched by darkness. Chosen one. Silence is not only protection, it is refinement. To keep still when everything inside you burns to speak is to place your soul into a furnace. It is not comfortable, but it is holy. It burns away pride. It melts down impatience. It exposes the impurities of your motives and leaves only what is pure and unshakable. Think of gold in the refiner's fire. It does not complain. It does not resist. It yields to the heat, and the impurities rise to the surface. The fire does not destroy it. The fire reveals its worth. Your silence on the last day of September is that fire. It reveals who you are when stripped of words, when stripped of defense. The truth is, silence is harder than shouting. Anyone can fill a room with noise. Few can sit still, endure misunderstanding, and remain unmoved. But those who can are the ones heaven trusts with greater authority. There was once a chosen one who longed for promotion, but every opportunity seemed blocked. He later realized that God was waiting for him to master silence. Only when he stopped rushing to justify himself did doors begin to open. His silence was proof of maturity, and maturity was what qualified him for more. As the prophet Zechariah declared in chapter 13, verse 9, I will refine them like silver, and test them like gold. They will call on my name, and I will answer them. They are my people, and they will say, the Lord is our God. In your silence, you may feel weak, voiceless, even overlooked, but heaven sees differently. Silence is strength disguised. The very moment you feel weakest is the moment God's strength rests on you most powerfully. So, let your silence refine you. Let it strip away the excess, the pride, the need to be right. See it as training, as preparation for what is to come. For those who pass through the furnace of silence emerge as vessels of honor. Now I ask you to seal this truth with a simple act. Type these words in the comments. Refined by silence. It may look small, but it is a declaration. You are saying, I accept the fire. I embrace the process. I will let silence shape me. And when you write it, heaven records your willingness. It becomes a line in your story, a testimony in your scroll. Silence is not empty. It is the refiner's fire, and those who endure it will shine with glory. But chosen one, let us stretch this truth even further. Refinement is not a single moment, it is a journey. Just as gold must pass through fire again and again until it shines without blemish, so too must you endure seasons of silence more than once. The last day of September is only one of those refining fires. Each time you submit to silence, another layer of impurity is removed, another layer of strength revealed. Think of a sculptor chiseling marble. With each strike, fragments fall away. The stone does not complain, though the blows are sharp. It trusts the hand of the artist to reveal what is hidden inside. You are that marble, and your silence is the sculptor's tool. With every withheld word, a fragment of pride, fear, or self-reliance falls away. Slowly, a masterpiece begins to emerge, one that could not be seen when the stone was whole. Silence also deepens your ability to listen. In noise, you may hear your own voice. In silence, you hear his. When Elijah stood on the mountain, the wind came, the earthquake shook, the fire blazed, but the Lord was not in them. He came in the gentle whisper. That whisper is often drowned out by your own words. Silence clears the air so his voice can be heard. Consider the cocoon again. Inside, the caterpillar is being undone, its old form dissolving, its future form taking shape. That transformation cannot be rushed, nor can it be explained. It happens in hidden silence. If the cocoon were opened prematurely, the butterfly would never fly. Your silence is the cocoon, and though it may feel like confinement, it is transformation. And here is the mystery. The pain of silence prepares you for the weight of glory. Words spoken too soon may win temporary relief, but cost eternal reward. Silence feels costly in the moment, but it carries riches beyond measure. So, when you declare, "Refined by silence," you are saying more than a phrase. You are proclaiming, "I welcome the sculptor's chisel. I welcome the fire's heat. I welcome the cocoon's confinement. For I know that when the process is finished, I will shine. I will rise. I will fly." Oh, chosen one. There comes a moment when silence does not merely protect you, it begins to roar. What feels like emptiness to you resounds like thunder in the unseen. When you choose silence at the appointed time, it is not weakness. It is a cry without sound, a roar without words, a battle won without a sword, lifted. Imagine standing at the edge of a canyon. You do not shout, yet the silence carries weight. The stillness stretches, heavy, sacred. Then suddenly, the faintest sound, your heartbeat. A whisper of wind echoes louder than any scream. This is how heaven hears your silence. It magnifies, it multiplies, it shakes the unseen. There was once a chosen one who was mocked by many. Instead of answering, she remained quiet. Her silence became unbearable to those around her, for it exposed their motives. They grew restless, unsettled. Silence became her roar. When the day of judgment came, she was lifted, while those who ridiculed her fell silent themselves. Her silence had fought the battle and won. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah in chapter 30, verse 15. In repentance and rest is your salvation. In quietness and trust is your strength. The Lord has spoken. His word stands firm. Silence, then, is not absence. It is power concentrated. Think of a river held back by a dam. At first glance, the water looks calm, restrained. But within, power is building. Pressure is rising. When released at the right moment, it generates light. Moves turbines, brings life to cities. Your silence is that dam. It is energy stored, power waiting, glory reserved. And now, allow me to speak to you from the heart. If these words have stirred your spirit, if you feel the resonance of truth within, then I invite you to stay connected. Like this message, share it so others may also find strength in silence. And subscribe so that you continue to walk with this stream of living words. These acts are not commands, they are candles in the night, guiding others who are lost back to the path. And if your heart feels led, I will speak gently of another way to join this work. Imagine a fire in the wilderness. It gives warmth to travelers, cooks food for the hungry, and lights the way through shadows. But even a fire, if left unfed, will fade. Your donation is the wood placed upon that fire, not demanded, not forced, but freely offered so the flame can keep burning for you, for others, for those still searching. Picture also a well in the desert. The water is deep, refreshing, life-giving, yet for the bucket to rise, a rope must be pulled. Every act of generosity is like pulling that rope, bringing water to the surface so the thirsty can drink. If you feel moved, give as an act of drawing water, not for yourself alone, but for many who are parched. And here is another picture. A lighthouse stands tall against the storm, but its light depends on oil. When you give, you are placing oil in the lamp, ensuring that those adrift in the dark sea will see the way to shore. But if you cannot, know this: your silence, your prayer, your listening heart are also gifts. Heaven measures not only coins, but intentions. The smallest gift given in faith echoes louder than riches given with indifference. Let us be clear. You are not buying blessing. You are not purchasing favor. Those are already gifts from God. Your giving is simply a way of saying, I want to fuel the flame. I want to keep the light burning, whether through prayer, sharing, or offering. Every act becomes part of the roar of silence that shakes the unseen. Your silence is already shaking the heavens. Your voice may be quiet, but your obedience is deafening to the enemy. And your choice, whatever it is today, becomes part of the eternal story. Heaven is writing with your name upon it. And know this, chosen one, no act of obedience is too small to matter. Just as a single drop creates ripples across a vast lake, so too does your silence. Your sharing, your giving create waves that reach further than you will ever see. You may not realize it in the moment, but someone will find hope because you shared. Someone will be protected because you prayed. Someone will see the light because you gave. Every step you take, no matter how hidden, is written in heaven's record. And on the last day, when all is revealed, you will see how your quiet choices thundered across eternity. This is the beauty of silence that roars. It is never wasted, never forgotten, always multiplied. Chosen one. When the scroll of September closes, It does not close lightly. Every day written, every moment recorded, every silence held in obedience, it all finds its place in the divine record. The last day of the month is not merely a turning of a calendar page, it is the sealing of a season. To understand this, you must see life not as random days passing, but as chapters being written by the author of all things. A scroll is not written hastily. The scribe takes care with every line, every mark of ink. In the same way, your choices and your silences are lines on the parchment of eternity. When September ends, that parchment is rolled up, sealed, and placed into the archives of heaven. Nothing added, nothing erased. What has been written stands. This is why your silence carries such importance. It is the ink that determines how the final chapter of this season reads. Will it close with hasty words and regret, or will it close with quiet trust and strength? Heaven waits to see. Think of Noah closing the door of the ark. It was not simply a wooden door, it was the end of one season and the start of another. The rain came, the flood rose, and the door marked the transition. September's end is like that door. Once shut, no one can open it again. Once closed, it becomes memory, and only what you carried into the ark remains. The ancient words recorded in Revelation, chapter 3, verse 7 declare, what he opens no one can shut, and what he shuts no one can open. Your silence is part of what you carry into October's ark. It is the proof that you trusted, that you obeyed, that you yielded. Without it, you risk stepping into the new season unprepared, weighed down by words that should never have been spoken. Imagine a weaver at his loom. Threads cross and interlace, pattern forming slowly. September is one set of threads. October will be the next. But the beauty of the design depends on how well the current strand is finished. If it frays, the pattern stumbles. If it holds firm, the pattern flows seamlessly. Your silence is that firm strand. It ensures the design continues without flaw. There was once a young believer who ended every season in chaos. He spoke too quickly, argued too long, left matters unresolved. Each time, the new season began burdened with the noise of the last. But one year, he chose differently. He ended September in silence. When October began, he felt lighter, clearer, more attuned to God's whisper. His silence had become the bridge between seasons. Chosen one, do not despise the closing of scrolls. Some mourn endings, others resist them. But endings are holy. They create space for what is next. Just as the setting sun prepares the stage for dawn, the closing of September prepares the way for October. And silence is your agreement with heaven's rhythm. Think also of a courtroom once more. When the case is finished, the judge strikes the gavel, and silence fills the room. That silence does not mean uncertainty, it means conclusion. The matter is settled. September's silence is the sound of the gavel. It marks the case as closed, the verdict as final. And if you have kept your silence well, the verdict will be in your favor. In this way, silence becomes not only your shield, but also your seal. It closes the chapter with dignity, with obedience, with faith, without words. You are saying, Lord, I trust what you have written. I do not need to add my own lines. Oh, so when the final day comes, See yourself not as powerless, but as powerful. Each moment of silence is a stroke of ink, a thread of weaving, a seal of a scroll. And when heaven looks upon the record of your September, it will see not chaos, but trust. Not noise, but wisdom. Not fear, but strength. Chosen one, let your silence be the closing line of this chapter, for in the stillness of that ending, a greater beginning waits. And remember this, a chapter's end is not a burial, it is a planting. What you lay down in silence at September's close becomes the seed of October's harvest. Just as a farmer buries grain in the soil, trusting it will rise again in a new season, so too do you bury your words, your defense, your explanations in silence. It may feel hidden, forgotten, even lost, but heaven counts it as a seed. And when the time comes, you will see the fruit, not of what you said, but of what you chose not to say. Chosen one, when September's scroll is sealed, a mystery unfolds. Silence is not only protection, not only refinement, not only a seal, it is also a number in the language of heaven. Numbers carry patterns, rhythms, and prophetic meaning. They are like keys carved into the universe, unlocking deeper truths for those who dare to see. On the last day of September, silence itself is counted. Every restrained word becomes a number. Every withheld argument, a mark on the ledger of heaven. Your silence is weighed, and when heaven finds it full, it tips the scales in your favor. Think of scales in the marketplace of old. Merchants would weigh silver, grain, or spices, ensuring fairness. But in heaven's marketplace, your silence is the weight that balances the scales. It testifies of trust, and trust always carries more value than words. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 36, everyone will have to give account on the day of judgment for every empty word they have spoken. This is why your silence matters so much. Words are not free, they are recorded. Each one requires accounting, but silence given in faith writes a different line in your record. This one trusted God. Imagine a soldier standing guard through the night. He hears movements, whispers, threats outside the wall, but he does not panic. He does not shout. He stands still, steady, silent. His silence is his strength. And when the dawn comes, his commander finds him faithful. So it is with you, chosen one. Silence is more than discipline. It is covenant. It is agreement with heaven's rhythm. And heaven loves to confirm covenant with symbols, with acts, with signs. That is why I ask you to mark your obedience with a prophetic declaration today. Type the number 777 inches, the comments. Not as decoration, not as superstition, but as covenant. 7 is the number of completion and perfection. Tripled. It speaks of divine fullness, fullness of covering, fullness of grace, fullness of victory. When you write 777, you are saying, I am complete in Christ. I will stay silent in trust. I will step into October, perfected by His hand. And do not dismiss the power of such a small act. Heaven honors faith expressed in symbols. When Noah built an altar, when Jacob set up a stone, when David danced before the ark, these were visible acts of invisible faith. So it is with you. Your comment becomes your altar, your stone of remembrance, your declaration, I belong to the silent ones. And when October dawns, your silence, your covenant, your completion will speak louder than any word you could have uttered. But chosen one, let me unfold the deeper meaning of this prophetic number, 770. 7 is not simply digits on a screen, it is a rhythm, a song, a seal. 7 is the number of rest, of completion, of God's perfect work. When you write it threefold, you echo the fullness of Father, Son, and Spirit working together in harmony. You are not just typing numbers, you are aligning yourself with heaven's order. Think of creation itself. The world was spoken into being in 6 days, but the seventh day was set apart, holy, marked by rest. That seventh day was not inactivity, it was completion, fulfillment. The evidence that God's work was perfect. By declaring 777, you are stepping into that same rhythm. You are saying, I trust in the work already finished. I choose to rest in His perfection. I allow silence to be my obedience. Oh, imagine also a great symphony. The instruments rise and fall. Melodies intertwine. But at the moment of climax, there is a pause, a silence that holds the weight of every note before it. That silence does not weaken the music, it perfects it. In the same way, your silence on the last day of September is the pause that gives meaning to every word spoken before. It is the sacred rest note in heaven's song. And consider a crown. A crown is not made of one jewel, but many, set carefully into place. Each 7 in 777 is a jewel, one of trust, one of obedience, one of completion. When joined together, they form a crown placed upon your head. Heaven looks and says, this one has endured. This one is marked. This one is crowned. So do not see the number as empty repetition. See it as covenant. See it as seal. See it as your silent roar written in digits. And when October begins, you will not step forward empty. You will step forward crowned, perfected, and aligned with the rhythm of heaven. Chosen one. Silence is not just withholding words, it is an exchange. Every time you hold your tongue, you hand something over to God. And every time you release that control, heaven gives something back to you. This is the great exchange of silence. You surrender the urge to defend, and God Himself speaks in your defense. You give up the need to be heard, and God amplifies your story in ways you could not imagine. Think of Hannah, the woman who wept in the temple. She was mocked by her rival, misunderstood even by the priest. Yet she did not rise to argue or lash out. She poured her heart to God in quiet anguish. Her silence before people became her cry before heaven. And in return, God gave her Samuel, a son who would anoint kings. That is the power of the exchange. Silence birthed destiny. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 12. I know whom I have believed, and am convinced that He is able to guard what I have entrusted to Him until that day. Your silence is an entrustment. You place your reputation, your defense, your case in God's hands, and in return, He guards it better than you ever could. What you entrust in silence is never lost. It is preserved, multiplied, and returned as testimony. Imagine a farmer who brings a small bag of seed. If he hoards it, it stays small, locked in his barn. But if he surrenders it to the soil, hidden and silent, it dies only to rise again, multiplied. Silence is your sowing. It feels like loss, but it is the doorway to harvest. Or think of a courtroom once more. If you defend yourself with words, your voice is all the judge hears. But if you remain silent, the advocate steps forward. His words carry more authority than yours ever could. Silence is handing him the floor. It is saying, "Your argument, not mine." And his argument always wins. Chosen one. Silence also exchanges your strength for his. When you refuse to fight with your own energy, you allow his spirit to fight for you. It is like laying down a dull blade and receiving a sword of fire in return. Your silence is not surrender to defeat, it is surrender to divine strength. There was a man who once faced slander. His name was dragged through the mud. His character questioned. He wanted to respond, to shout, to prove them wrong. But he remembered the call to silence. He chose to say nothing. Months later, those same people who had slandered him returned to apologize, confessing they had been wrong. His silence had given God space to reveal the truth. What he surrendered in words, he gained in vindication. Silence is therefore not emptiness, but transaction. It is heaven's marketplace. You bring your pride, your impatience, your urge to be understood. You lay it down in silence, and in exchange, God gives you peace, vindication, and honor. The trade is always in your favor. Think of a musician resting his hands on the keys. The pause seems quiet, but it sets the stage for the crescendo. Silence in your life is the pause that prepares the crescendo of glory. If you rush to fill it with noise, the moment loses its power. But if you let the pause remain, the music that follows is richer, stronger, unforgettable. So, chosen one, see your silence not as emptiness, but as sacred exchange. Each quiet moment is a seed, a case handed to the advocate, a dull blade traded for fire, a pause before the music swells. Do not despise it, embrace it, for in every silence given, heaven is already preparing your return, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And let me take you one step deeper. Chosen one, the exchange that happens in silence is not always immediate, but it is always certain. Just as a letter placed in the post takes time to reach its destination, so too does your silence travel to heaven's courtroom, where it is stamped, sealed, and returned with authority. The delay is not denial, it is preparation. Picture an archer pulling back the bowstring. The tension builds in silence. The arrow quivers. Unseen power gathers. Then, at the precise moment, the arrow flies with unstoppable force. Your silence is that tension. It feels stretched, uncomfortable, heavy. But when God releases the arrow, the result will be swift and sure. So, trust the exchange. Each quiet sacrifice is being stored like treasure in a vault. Each withheld word is an arrow waiting for release. Each moment of stillness is a promise accumulating interest. When the appointed time comes, what you traded in silence will roar back into your life as undeniable victory. Chosen one, the silence you are called to keep does more than protect or refine you. it reveals those around you. When you choose quietness, the true nature of others begins to surface. Silence becomes a mirror, reflecting hidden motives, exposing intentions that words often disguise. Think of Jesus standing before Pilate. He spoke little, choosing silence over debate. That silence did not only display his trust in the Father, it exposed the weakness of Pilate, the jealousy of the priests, and the cruelty of the crowd. His quietness brought the truth of every heart into the open. In the same way, when you are silent, others reveal themselves. Those who are genuine will draw closer. Those who are false will grow restless, unsettled, unable to hide what lies beneath. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 17, verse 27, the one who has knowledge uses words with restraint, and whoever has understanding is even-tempered. Landu, your restraint is wisdom, and wisdom exposes folly. There was once a young believer who learned this lesson deeply. In her workplace, she often faced gossip and manipulation. At first, she defended herself every time, but her words only fed the fire. Then, one September, she chose silence. Day after day, she refused to respond. Soon, the gossipers turned on one another. Their schemes were uncovered, not by her speech, but by their own words. Her silence had been the stage where truth unveiled itself. Silence has this power. It unsettles the false, while strengthening the true. It is like a clear pond. When you speak rashly, the waters ripple, distorting the reflection. But when you remain still, the water clears, and every detail is revealed. The quietness of your soul becomes the mirror that shows who is truly standing with you and who only stands near you. It also reveals your own heart. When you stop filling the air with explanations, you hear the whispers of your own soul more clearly. You may notice fears you had ignored, wounds you had buried, or pride you had excused. Silence allows God to put a mirror before you as well. What is hidden inside surfaces, not to condemn you, but to heal you. Imagine a theater stage. When the spotlight shines, shadows flee, and what was hidden becomes visible. Silence is that spotlight. It exposes what noise keeps in the dark. The moment you step into stillness, the true characters around you step into the light. Some will rejoice in it, others will squirm, but either way, the truth comes forward. Chosen one. This is why silence can feel uncomfortable not only for you, but for those around you. It strips away the masks. It removes the excuses. It demands that reality be seen for what it is. Yet this is mercy, because truth revealed is the first step toward freedom. Do not fear what silence exposes. What rises to the surface was always there. Silence only reveals it sooner. And what is revealed can finally be judged, healed, or removed. Better an uncomfortable truth than a comfortable lie. Consider also the refining of silver. The metal is heated, and impurities rise to the surface. The silversmith does not create the impurities, he only draws them out. Silence works the same way. It does not create falsehood or pride, but it brings them to the surface where they can no longer hide. So, on the last day of September, when you choose silence, remember this: your quietness is not only for you. It is a lamp that reveals what lies in the shadows of relationships, workplaces. Even within your own soul, it may feel heavy. but it is holy. It prepares you for October by showing you who can walk with you into the next season and who must remain behind. Silence is not emptiness, it is revelation. And revelation, though uncomfortable, is always a gift. And understand this, chosen one, revelation is not meant to shame, but to prepare. When silence uncovers what is false, it gives you the wisdom to step away. When silence confirms what is true, it gives you the courage to hold on. Without silence, you might walk blindly into October, carrying people, burdens, or habits that were never meant to cross with you. With silence, your vision clears. You see who you are, who is with you, and who God is calling you to become. So do not resist what silence uncovers. Welcome it, for though the truth may sting at first, it is mercy in disguise. It is heaven's way of making sure that when you step into the new month, you step in lighter, wiser, and freer. Chosen one, the silence of September is reaching its crescendo. What began as a whisper in your spirit has grown into a roar that shakes unseen gates. Heaven is watching. The earth is trembling. And darkness is unsettled because a chosen one has chosen to trust, to yield, to remain still. This is the final trumpet warning. Do not take lightly what you have heard. The last day of September is not merely about keeping your lips sealed. It is about aligning yourself with heaven's design. When you obey, you step into a flow that no enemy can disrupt. When you resist, you risk stepping outside the covering. Think of it as a bridge over a rushing river. On one side lies September, with all its trials, wounds, and lessons. On the other side lies October, full of fresh promises. But the bridge is narrow, and silence is the plank that holds your feet steady. If you speak recklessly, the plank wobbles. If you stay quiet, you cross safely. The choice is yours. But the bridge will not hold forever. The Word of God declares in the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 36, you need to persevere, so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what He has promised. Faithful is the Lord. Your perseverance in silence is the key that unlocks what has been promised. And now, let me speak gently to your heart. If this word has resonated, if it has stirred a quiet confirmation in your soul, then I invite you to join in more than just listening, like this message. Not because you must, but because it is like placing another stone on the bridge, strengthening the path for others who must also cross. Share it, for sharing is like lighting a lantern on that bridge, so those who follow behind will not stumble in the dark. Subscribe, because it is like choosing to walk with a community of lantern bearers who will journey beside you in the nights to come. And let me add this, comment below. Not as routine, but as planting a seed in a field. Every word you type becomes like a small seed carried by the wind. You may not know where it will land, but heaven waters it, and in time it grows into fruit that others may eat. Commenting is not noise, it is sowing. And if you feel led to go further, let me offer you another picture. Imagine a fire on a mountaintop, a beacon for the lost. The wood that keeps it burning does not appear on its own. Each traveler who climbs the path adds a branch, and together the fire never dies. Your donation is that branch. It is not demanded. It is not forced. It is simply your way of saying, I want the fire to keep burning, not only for me, but for those still wandering. Or picture a well again. Deep, cool water lies beneath, waiting to refresh the weary, yet the rope must be pulled. The bucket must be lifted. When you give, it is like lowering that rope, bringing water up not only for yourself, but for strangers you will never meet. The well does not run dry. Instead, it flows more abundantly because of your willingness. And here is another picture. A lighthouse stands tall against the storm, but its light depends on oil. When you give, you are placing oil in the lamp, ensuring that those adrift in the dark sea will see the way to shore. But if you cannot, know this: your silence, your prayer, your listening heart are also gifts. Heaven measures not only coins, but intentions. The smallest gift given in faith echoes louder than riches given with indifference. Let us be clear. You are not buying blessing. You are not purchasing favor. Those are already gifts from God. Your giving is simply a way of saying, I want to fuel the flame. I want to keep the light burning, whether through prayer, sharing, or offering. Every act becomes part of the roar of silence that shakes the unseen. Your silence is already shaking the heavens. Your voice may be quiet, but your obedience is deafening to the enemy. And your choice, whatever it is today, becomes part of the eternal story. Heaven is writing with your name upon it. And know this, chosen one, heaven does not forget even the smallest act. A single lantern can guide an entire caravan. A single seed can grow into a tree whose shade shelters generations. A single branch can keep the fire alive through the night. Your part, no matter how small, joins the great tapestry God is weaving through His chosen. So walk into the last day of September with courage. Walk in silence, but let your silence be filled with meaning, for heaven is listening, recording, and preparing a reward that no thief can steal and no darkness can dim. Chosen one, silence is not just for defense, nor just for refinement. It is also preparation for revelation. What is hidden in silence often blooms in the open when the time is right. September's final day, marked by your quietness, is not an ending, but a staging ground for what God intends to unveil in the season ahead. Consider the seed again. Beneath the soil, it rests without sound. Days pass, weeks pass, and nothing seems to happen. Yet inside, life stirs, roots spread, strength builds. Silence is the soil of destiny. Without it, the seed would dry out or be eaten by birds. With it, it is preserved until the appointed time. In the same way, your silence preserves the mystery of what God is doing in you. Some things must remain hidden until they are ready to be seen. Speak too soon, and you risk exposing what is not yet strong enough to survive. But guard your silence, and when October arrives, you will see shoots breaking through the soil. Evidence that the unseen has been working all along. The Word of God reminds us in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 1, I will stand at my watch and station myself on the ramparts. I will look to see what He will say to me and what answer I must give to this complaint. Your silence is the waiting room of revelation. Think of an artist painting a masterpiece. The early strokes look strange, incomplete. If the canvas were shown too soon, Critics would laugh. But hidden in the studio, in silence, the artist continues his work. Only when the painting is finished does the unveiling happen, and then all see the beauty. Your life is that canvas. Silence is the studio. October is the unveiling. There was once a woman who prayed for years for a breakthrough. Each time she spoke too much of it. Doubt and mockery came against her. One year, she decided to keep silent, to hold her prayers in the secret place of her heart. In that hidden silence, God worked. By the time the breakthrough came, it was undeniable, so radiant that even her mockers acknowledged God's hand. Her silence had preserved her promise until its unveiling. Chosen one. Silence is also like a womb. Within it, life grows, unseen, protected. The womb is not a place of noise, but of nurturing. In the stillness, heartbeat by heartbeat, destiny forms. To break the silence prematurely would be to abort what is meant for life. But to keep the silence is to guard the womb until the time of delivery. On the last day of September, you are guarding what God has conceived within you. October will be the time of birth. Do not despise this hiddenness. The world craves noise, attention, visibility, but heaven values secrecy. Incubation, preparation. Moses was hidden in the desert before he led a nation. David was hidden with sheep before he became king. Even Jesus was hidden for 30 years before his ministry was revealed. Silence is the cocoon of greatness. Without it, wings cannot form. Think also of the night sky. During the day, the stars are present but unseen. Only when darkness falls and silence covers the earth do they shine. In the same way, what God has placed in you will shine brightest after the silent night of September. October's dawn will reveal stars that were always there, waiting for their moment. So see your silence as holy concealment, not neglect. It is not that God has forgotten you, it is that He is preparing the stage, hiding you until the appointed time, and when the curtain lifts, the silence you endured will make the revelation even more radiant. Chosen one. Hold your peace. Guard your lips. Keep the womb sealed. The seed hidden. The canvas covered. For soon, what has been silent will speak, and its voice will be stronger, brighter, and more undeniable than anything you could have said with your own mouth. And let this strengthen your heart. Silence is never wasted time. It is invested time. When you stand, watch without words. When you guard the ramparts of your own spirit, you are not inactive, you are aligning. You are letting God write His lines before you speak yours. You are letting heaven arrange the battlefield before you take a single step. In that restraint lies protection, and in that waiting lies strategy. So, as September draws its final breath, do not despise the hush. Treasure it, for silence is not the absence of progress, it is the root of it. And when the trumpet of October sounds, you will rise, ready, refined, and radiant. Chosen one. The silence of September is not only for your present, it is for your future. Every withheld word, every moment of restraint, every act of obedience builds a foundation you will stand upon in the days ahead. What you choose on the final day of this month will echo far beyond it. Silence may feel like a single day's discipline, but it is actually a lifelong principle. a posture of the soul that will sustain you. Think of a great tree standing tall in the storm. Its branches may sway, but its roots are deep. Those roots did not grow in noise or display. They grew in the hidden silence of the soil. In the same way, your silence now is pushing roots deeper, anchoring you so that when greater winds come, you will not fall. We find in the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 21, whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you, saying, "This is the way, walk in it." Silence clears the noise so that this voice can be heard. Chosen one. The fruit of silence is guidance. Without quietness, the directions of God are drowned out by the roar of the world. But in silence, the compass of heaven becomes clear. What feels like a pause is actually positioning. You are being aligned with the exact steps ordained for you. There was once a man who could not make decisions. Each path looked both promising and dangerous. He asked everyone for advice, filled his days with chatter and confusion, but nothing changed. Then, he withdrew into silence for a season. In the stillness, clarity came. He did not hear 100 voices, he heard one. And that one voice led him to a place of blessing that many words could never have achieved. Silence also builds authority. A voice that speaks constantly loses weight, but a voice that is quiet until the right time carries thunder when it finally speaks. Consider Jesus again. He was silent before his accusers, but when he finally spoke on the cross, "It is finished," heaven and earth trembled. Few words, but eternal impact. That is the authority silence prepares for you. Think also of a sword kept in its sheath. It is not less powerful for being hidden. In fact, its restraint keeps it sharp. If it were swung constantly, it would dull, but kept in silence, it is ready for the decisive strike. Your voice is that sword. Silence is its sheath. In October and beyond, God will draw it at the right time, and its impact will be undeniable. Chosen one. Your silence is not only about surviving September, it is about becoming someone who cannot be moved in any season. A person of depth, of patience, of authority. A person who listens before speaking, who discerns before acting, who waits before moving. These are the ones heaven can trust with greater assignments. Do not see this silence as a temporary inconvenience. See it as training for destiny. For there will be other Septembers, other thresholds, other gates where silence will be required. Each time you obey, you grow stronger. Each time you resist, you dull the edge of your calling. And so, on the final day, when the world expects you to answer back, you will remain silent. And that silence will roar louder than any reply. It will testify that you belong to God, that you are covered, that you are guided. And heaven will take note not only for today, but for the road ahead. Chosen one. Hold this truth. Silence today is strength tomorrow. What you keep hidden now will shine when the appointed time arrives. What you bury in stillness will rise in glory. And what you surrender in quietness will return, multiplied in power. Let your silence be your testimony, your preparation, your crown. For though the world may not understand, heaven does. And heaven is writing your name into the story of those who trusted, waited, and emerged victorious. And know this, chosen one, Silence is not the end of your voice, it is the sanctification of it. What you choose not to say today makes room for what God Himself will speak through you tomorrow. The pause you honor in September becomes the authority you carry in October. Others may forget your silence, but heaven records it as covenant. And when the time comes, your words will no longer be scattered like dust in the wind. They will strike like arrows of fire, precise and undeniable. This is the inheritance of the silent ones. Their restraint becomes their crown. Chosen one. The scroll of these words is closing, yet their echo remains within you. The silence of September is not a passing lesson. It is a mantle you will wear along your journey. You have heard the warnings, seen the images, and received the revelation. Now you stand at the threshold of October, with a heart refined and lips prepared to guard what is holy. Before you go, I invite you to take part in simple acts that carry deep meaning. Click like, as though you are laying another stone upon the altar, strengthening the place where heaven meets earth. Share, as one who passes a torch through the night, so another weary traveler may find the path. Subscribe, not out of routine, but as if stepping into the circle of watchmen, keeping vigil together through the long night. And do not hesitate to leave your trace. A comment, however small, is like a seed carried on the wind, planted in unseen soil, and one day it may rise as shelter for a thirsty soul. If your heart feels stirred to go further, there is one more way: a gift, an offering not out of duty, but as a drop of oil poured into the lamp. That drop keeps the flame alive. So this light may continue to shine for the feet of those still wandering. Chosen one, walk forward in peace. Your silence has become a roar. Your faith has become a flame. And every act you choose, whether a like, a word, a share, or a gift, is remembered in heaven and woven into eternity.